Mr. Speaker, a regressive tax is just a fancy word for a tax that hits poor and middle-class folks worse than it hits the rich. We have sales and use taxes. Those are regressive. We also have regressive taxes on liquor and beer, on gambling, on visiting the casinos, on marijuana, tobacco, and gasoline. Our fees in our campground, taxes on utilities and hotels, and sports tickets and groceries, and the taxes on our cars, all regressive. All hit the rich less than they hit everyone else. You are asking the average voter to vote to raise their taxes in ways and in amounts that we will decide later without their vote. And what is their massive tax increase for? Will it be to feed the poor, to clothe the naked, to invest in our infrastructure, to raise teacher pay, to fund our state employees? No. This plan actually makes those things harder to do. Instead, the largest tax increase Missourians will ever see will fund a permanent tax cut for those who are doing better than they are. Expressly in your bill, the middle class pays more in taxes without getting any more from their government. It's a bad deal. Last year, we gave billionaires their break on capital gains, and this year, we look to be giving multimillionaires their break. A decade of lowering progressive taxes and raising regressive ones has resulted in stagnant growth, as even the governor has to admit. His plan to copy Memphis makes no sense. Tennesseans have a harder time dealing with inflation and drug addiction. Their schools aren't as good. They die younger. Income inequality is worse, and they're further behind on their bills. You're 28% more likely to be the victim of violent crime in Tennessee. Venture capital isn't flooding into Tennessee, and while the state as a whole is growing, the growth pales in comparison to Idaho, South Carolina, Delaware, and other states with higher income taxes than Missouri has. If we're going to copy off a classmate, let's copy off the kid who's getting an A, not the one who's struggling more than we are. You are forcing the middle class and poor to carry the rich man's burden like a warped atonement when their only sin is having voted Republican, tricked into thinking that this would mean lower prices and lower taxes and not this unfair and inflationary hike. And even after this betrayal, you ask voters to trust you with future taxes? Trust you who voted to overturn the voters' desire for paid sick leave and half a dozen other things. Trust you who voted to let the Secretary of State mislead them time and time again. I'll give you credit. Your summary does tell voters it will modernize sales and use taxes, which is a strange euphemism for massively expand. That said, Missouri didn't even have a state sales tax until 1934, when it was 0.5%. Today, its growth to nearly 4.25% means, I guess, doubling it or more again is modernizing under the theory that sales taxes only go up. Sales taxes only go up over time because your wealthy masters insist on that even more of their tax burden has to be foisted on working-class Missourians. What have they offered you to sell out on your refrain that voters should have to approve tax increases, to give up on retirees and pensioners, on veterans, on the disabled, on churches run on tax-deductible gifts and nonprofits reliant on tax credits, on Missouri merchants and on border cities, on Missouri consumers squeezed by rising costs, on parents saving into 529 plans, on those using those Mo Scholar accounts that many of you fought for once upon a time, on workers saving for retirement and tax-preferred vehicles like 401ks and IRAs, on parents paying for childcare and scout camps and a variety of other services constitutionally protected for now from sales taxes. Have you vetted this plan at the barber shop? I dare you to do so. If you wanted to help the struggling people of Missouri, you would use income tax revenue to get rid of personal property tax or grocery taxes, or better yet, reduce the cost of college tuition, or of in-home health care, or of child care, or of electricity. You would attract businesses with world-class airports, innovators with world-class universities, and tourists with world-class attractions. But instead, you remain for the second year committed to give a tax break to those who don't need it. Except this time, you're not only making it harder for Missourians to keep their lights on, you're taking away their power to do anything about it. The cold fact is that most Missourians will see a tax increase under this plan, and yet you aren't even honest enough to tell them that at the ballot box. The reality is that this plan is unfair, unnecessary, and unwise. It hasn't worked in Tennessee, and it won't help Missourians here. We are rapidly running out of feet to shoot ourselves in, and I implore you to reject this massive tax hike. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.